So we've seen oil sharply higher today amid possible threats to Middle Eastern supply. And we've also seen a move up in U.S. bond yields. That often happens when investors are concerned about inflation. So the markets are kicking off. It's a data-heavy week, and we're going to get plenty of earnings, including results from big U.S. financial players. Let's get more from JJ Kinahan, CEO of IG North America. JJ, thanks very much indeed for joining us.
Hey, Andrew, how are you today?
Very good. Happy Monday. What are you paying attention to right now in the stock market? What are you focused on?
Well, I think you hit on a few things right there, including obviously crude oil, but maybe in a bigger sense, actually VIX, which measures volatility in the indices, particularly the S&P 500, but is used for the whole market. It's back above 20. And so what does that actually mean? That's sort of a little bit of a cautionary period that people for so long, if you think about this rally, it was just trudging higher every day with over 40 new records in the S&P 500 this year. Now we're at a point where people are like, hey, there's a lot more perhaps to be concerned about with some of the conflicts that are going on in the world. We do see crude oil start to pick up. And when you see crude oil start to pick up, you know, again, the price of gasoline at the pump is the first thing that affects most people's pocketbooks. So it's a little overweighted in terms of its inflationary mindset. Maybe not the numbers, but certainly the mindset gets affected really quickly by consumers when they see the price of gasoline go up. And so with that, there's that knock-on effect of retailers, et cetera, which tend to be the next ones to react. What I'm most interested in this week, though, is earnings. And obviously, you have the banks that set the tone. But what I really want to hear is, you know, this sort of back and forth that we're playing right now between what's going on in the employment area, or at least in the numbers, and what's going on with the consumer and how these banks foresee the rest of the year playing out. And at this point, they're already doing 2025 planning. So where they see us going in 2025 also.
The market near record highs. Do you think there's too much optimism, given that the Fed is concerned about the U.S. economy?
Yeah, it really is, though, unbelievable in terms of the fact that, you know, this is the rally that nobody loves, is the way I've kind of been saying it. And what I mean by that is we continue to hit these record highs, and all you hear people do is wringing their hands. There's not this sense of FOMO, if you will, you know, the fear of missing out that we've seen in so many past rallies. It's actually the, oh, my God, I can't believe we're continuing to go higher. And so with that, that's actually an area where you can often continue to go higher, because people aren't the sort of true believers, and maybe the path of least resistance is to the upside. You know, the other part about that is I look at some of the investments that are competing for the U.S. stock market right now, and it's really difficult to find one that looks quite as good at the moment. Yes, crude oil's on a nice run right now. Gold's been on a nice run for the last few months. But in terms of the consistency of performance that we've seen out of the U.S. stock market, it really has been incredible. And more importantly, it's beyond the, you know, typical Magnificent Seven or whatever you want to say. NVIDIA's basically gone nowhere for the last quarter. And so what we're starting to see, which is encouraging to me, is other stocks outside that Magnificent Seven where people are finding opportunity.
You have some ideas for us. CrowdStrike Holdings, they had that outage this year. The stock has bounced since early September. You think this stock offers promise?
Well, you know, our Tasty Trade clients, these are the top three stocks that they've been buying. You just have up on the screen. And CrowdStrike's been #1 leading the way over the last 2 weeks. So I find that really interesting. You know, they've had some somewhat positive press over the last couple of weeks. And also they've come out with some new security protocols, et cetera, and products. So with that, we'll see if they can put this one behind them. At the end of the day, they're still used by so many companies. It's not like, you know, everyone dropped them. They did have trouble getting new business, but many of the companies that were using them before this outage are still using them. Now, they may have backups, et cetera. The competition may have heated up, but at the end of the day, their sales numbers still could look pretty good.
I want to, before I get to some positive ideas, more positive ideas from you, Target is one stock you're a little wary of. Is that because you're cautious on the consumer?
Well, I think there's caution on the consumer. I think you saw a stock that, if you think about their last earnings, they had a huge jump overall, right? And so, but the stock, again, hasn't really done anything since that huge jump up. In fact, down a little bit. And so I think what you're seeing is clients who were long the stock taking profits, and others big caution on the consumer right now, as we just got done talking about in terms of the inflation number. You know, they're going to have to, I think, really have shown that they had an incredible back to school season when they come up for their earnings again in order to sort of keep the momentum going.
One other stock that you're a little wary of is United Airlines. Why are you cautious there, JJ?
Well, so what we're seeing on our clients there, which is really interesting. I mean, the stock has had an incredible run. If you look at that chart since, late August, early September, really impressive overall. But again, back to the consumer caution. We've seen a lot of people saying, okay, the demand for the holiday season, maybe not quite it was in the past. Outside that, a little bit of trouble. And just in general, when you see a chart like that in this type, airlines, in my opinion, is a very, very, very difficult business. And so with that, the price of, think about what we just talked about, price of crude oil going up, perhaps weakness in the consumer. What are two largest factors that are hard to control in terms of the airline industry itself? And I think our clients are seeing that, and because of that, sort of getting rid of the stock if they were long it, or shorting the stock through either options or the stock itself.
JJ, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Great to be on with you, Andrew. Have a great day.
JJ Kinahan.